All right, let's get started on a little brief demo on how to use PassHub for Business. So the first thing to point out here, PassHub for Business, actually, when you set it up, you can customize your subdomain to tailor your business's needs. That subdomain can be essentially whatever you'd like. But the sort of main feature of the login screen here and of PassHub itself is the security of the login process. You can actually log into PassHub without the need for usernames or passwords. Obviously, this is a huge reduction in attack surface, and it can actually be done without compromising on convenience. First off, you don't have to remember your passwords or your usernames for that matter. And it's all done with a mobile app called WWPassKey. I am going to show you sort of how easy that is, how easy it can be to authenticate using WWPassKey. Give me one moment. All right, so WWPassKey can be downloaded from the App Store on an iPhone or an Android device. Once it is downloaded, I'm just going to walk you through the process on how kind of easy it is to authenticate using PassHub, WWPassKey. So you enter the biometrics or a second factor. Now, a second factor isn't necessarily required. As you saw, all I did was enter or scan the QR code, and then a second factor appeared. I used my biometrics. It may not have shown up on the phone for you. I'll show you on a different device later. The way that I'm sharing the screen kind of protects authentication. So give me one moment. All right, so now that we're in, let's talk a little bit about safes. Now, safes within PassHub are sort of top level folders that allow you to securely store things like, let's show you, like passwords, notes, bank cards, things of that nature. Now, safes can be shared. When a safe is shared, you'll see this icon here with the two sort of people. An important note about sharing. So when you share a safe, the only people who have access, or sorry, the only users who have access to that safe are the owner of the safe and then the person who the safe is shared with. All right, so let's get into sort of how easy it can be for administrators, for system administrators. All right, we'll pull up the user management tool. Now, the only reason this user has access to a user management tool is they are an administrator in this instance. All right, so a quick interjection. I just wanted to really fully introduce the user management tool before diving into how to use it. So let's get into that right now. Okay, so the table here is sort of all that a user administrator will need in order to fully execute their role within PassHub. Remember, they won't be spending valuable time resetting passwords thanks to WWPassKey. Additionally, just a quick note on Active Directory. If you choose to deploy PassHub on premises, you can actually layer PassHub onto Active Directory for user management. And if you need help doing that, feel free to reach out. We're happy to help. Back to the original demo there. Other things to point out here, authorized users are users that have been sent an authorization, or sorry, they've just actually been added in the system, right? So, and I'm actually going to show that as well. But first, let me show you how to delete users. Deleting users is very simple. That red X right there, that's how you would do it. As you can see, removed pretty much instantaneously. But also importantly is how you add a user back. Or not back, but just in general, how you authorize a user to use your instance of PassHub. So we're going to enter the username, or obviously the email address of a user. And as you can see, simply just populates as an authorized user. Now, in order for them to be an active user, there is a process sort of to undergo, and I will show you that process as well. So give me one moment to set everything up here. So the screen that I just started sharing, that is the user that was just added. They have downloaded WW Passkey from the App Store, as you can see on the bottom left there. Let's, and I'm not sure I mentioned, but I should, the contents of this table can actually be exported to a CSV, but that's done right here. But let's get on to the second user here. Same thing, authenticate with the QR code, approve the login. So now this user will have to sort of enter, obviously, their email address. But actually, one thing I want to show you first. Let's see. I'm going to show you what it looks like when a user that hasn't been authorized in the system attempts to log in, right? So they're met with this message. Obviously, they cannot access. There's no way for a user that hasn't been authorized to access your instance of PassHub. But since we do want to get back in and show you just a little bit more. So the user was sent a 6-digit verification code. Once they enter their verification code, the key pair will be generated. This will bind the key on their mobile device to your instance of PassHub. So the only real difference here, obviously it's a different user, there aren't the same safes, but a key difference being there's no user management tool. Obviously this user is not an administrator, but in the administrator's user management tool, they have been sort of updated, their status has been updated to active. Now, I don't think I went over this, but this down here is how you would add sort of passwords, notes, files, bank cards, or folders to subfolders, of course, to an existing safe. Sort of the last sort of thing I wanted to point out is there is documentation. So adding a new safe, getting started, all of that stuff is documented and available on the website here. And of course, if you can't find the answer to your question in our documentation, please feel free to send our support team a message, and we're always happy to help out. Thanks.